Morning, Pete. We're trying to figure out how to videotape off my phone here, so hang tight. Not sure how this will work out, but I think you'll be able to figure out. I got this far before you and Brian talked this morning, so I'm going to talk to you about what I'm doing. Hopefully the audio comes out. I'm showing you in this demonstration how to go around any protrusion. This being your gable end, this being any protrusion, insert skylight, chimney, could be a dormer. I know you guys have got a dormer. This will be a wall, side wall, this will be head wall. What I've done so far, and the thing to keep in mind, and this is the real challenge, this section right here has a 1-inch fold down, 1-inch fold up, 1-inch fold up, and we wrap the edges by about 1 inch on average. Having said that, it's critical that at these V's, when you seal this that last time, and don't seal it until you've got everything dry fit and you're ready to go, you've got a decent bead of sealant there. Same thing at the gates on sections like this here. So some of this, I'm using a different type of screw on this application only because I don't want to use the big long screws. So I've never roofed a pallet before, but hopefully you can figure this out. So far I got my starter panel on, I got a center panel on, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this one to fit as well. It'll be the same length as this one. So this will be boring at a time, but hang with me. Easiest way to cut a panel, turn it upside down, mark it. Usually use a big square if you've got one, framing square. That helps. Draw your straight line. I like the aviators for cutting the 032. And the beauty of the aluminum, with the utility knife, just connect the dots. Since everything is a standard 1 inch, I know I'm folding up 1 inch on each side. It doesn't matter whether I'm top or bottom. Brandon, maybe you can do me a favor. Can you give me a 1-inch lock that goes up? Needs to be about 4 feet long. Okay. And just a 1-inch lock on it, and then a lock on the top. Make it 6-8 inches wide, just for demonstration purposes.
So it looks like a transition.
Yeah. That's going to go right there. I'll notch this out for you though. We'll just pretend here that a chimney's right there, or you're on the other side of your dormer. is a Melco tool. It's an 18-inch folder bar. You can get it at any supply house. Up here, the Home Depot's even carry them. So I got that panel locked in. I'm going to do a scribe under here. Literally just scribe that with my pencil. That's going to be what we call our brake line. You can see it here. I'm going to move over 1 inch. That's going to be my fold up. Six-inch seamers. If you have a siding brake on site, it makes it a lot easier. If not, you can do it this way. Just do small bends at a time. Try not to bend the whole thing. It will not work. Another suggestion as you go, when you've got a trim detail you're not familiar with, if you've got a couple scraps laying around, play around with scraps first. So if you're going to ruin something, ruin a scrap, don't ruin a long panel. Can you see it? Still looking all right?
Yeah.
Okay. How we doing?
You good? Nope. I'm looking to whoever's gonna decide to spend all the money.
How much you got? I'm videotaping right now, so you're on videotape. So what do you got?
Right now I've got a loaner charger for you.
Yep.
The battery company got one lined up at $675. Got a 5-year warranty on it.
Okay.
It takes about a week to get.
Okay.
So I can.
So what's in? How much to install it?
It's probably about an hour to install it, and I'm gonna have to do some messing around to get the loaner one on there, unless you just want to wait a week for the new one.
No, go ahead and get the loaner one on there and get that in order.
All right.
Okay.
I can do that.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
You gotta pull around.
See what I'm doing here is making the lock similar to the other one. Here and snap down nice and tight. Another idea, a lot of times I don't finish this lead edge off until it's on. I'll show you why. So it was 1 inch long, as we know. One way you can do this, especially if you're on a ladder, you can bend it down to your hands. For the manly men, some of the guys pounding that way. Hand seamers, take duct tape on both surfaces of this. It won't mar the paint then. Squeeze it gently, a couple times across. Last time, give her a pretty good squeeze. Squeeze all your gates. Make sure you Okay, so my chimney or whatever protrusion would sit right there. All right. 4 foot. Yeah, this is.
Okay, right.
We make mistakes too, Pete. It's actually 40 is exactly what it is, Brandon. This is what I was talking about that you're going to use behind protrusions, and this is where guys get in trouble. Just give me a 1-inch lock on it, Brandon, okay? I'm going to show you a couple different ways you can do it. One's not better than the other. Sometimes it's your application you want to worry about. Most important thing is to make sure you understand you can't deadhead all your panels into the back of a protrusion. There's nowhere for the water to go. So you got to give yourself a horizontal panel for the water to go horizontal. Having said that, that is probably the biggest challenge in the trim details that people, especially beginners, struggle with. It's really not that hard once you've done it once or twice. Getting to that point can be somewhat of a challenge. So we'll, all right, so you can do this by hand, you can do whatever you want. You literally got a piece of metal here. I'm going to use this as my lock for the panels moving up. There again, on the gable ends, if that's what you have, you'll have a 1-inch fold up. Now, a lot of times you've got to make this angle here about 45. In order to lock on. I'm going to mark this. A lot of times this wouldn't be just one piece, obviously. It would be more than one. On the roof we would have a framing square, which we would use quite a bit, obviously. The duck bill, as they're called, I like on a straight cut because it cuts a little faster and cleaner. Multiple thicknesses, it can be a little tougher. One-inch fold up. Try to leave this trailing leg down. It fills in that space. Now, here's the funny part. We've got to fold this leg here back up. Because we don't want water stockpiling on the back side of your chimney. Now, whether you fold the lock down on the sides, or whether you fold this one up on the back side of the chimney, it doesn't really matter. This will be more than one person when it comes to installing this most of the time. So now I'm going to just fold that one right back up. So we got this folded up against the back side of your chimney, skylight, etc. These again folded out to about a 45, and the reason that they have to be is because you can't get this on unless you do. Brandon, what I'd like to do now, let's spin this whole pallet. Ready? Let's leave it right there for a minute. Okay? Now, so these also will be at 45. Let's pop that back off. About 45 is what. Okay? Got it? Then you're going to squeeze this down with your fingers. And we may want to trim. You have to trim this back just a bit. And you never quite know where that trim is. Let's see. I'm going to go back right there. It's roughly an inch. Fold that down. You prefer that folded down versus around because the water's probably going to be more horizontal than vertical. Okay. How you looking, bud?
I'm locked.
You're locked. And take a block of wood. I don't have one, but sealant under all of this. A rubber mallet, hang ya. So, a couple options now. On this top side, you can run a siding starter anywhere in here for the purpose of setting it in sealant. Probably, why don't you go ahead and shear that off. We'll use this as a siding starter just to give them an idea of what we're doing. So, while he's doing that, your panels. This is your C-channel, as we call it. This is going to get mounted on the ridge. Two-piece ridge will get mounted to this. You always have a fold up on the top side. And let me see here. 1 inch fold up, corner, corner. So, let's see. Can't wet. Beautiful. Cut there. Squaring this with my eyesight, so bear with me. There again, I'm going to notch my 1 inch out. My 1 inch up. Little bit of a dog here. The zip bit on the drill right there. Use a turn handbrake. That's kind of a literal handbrake right there. So this is going to be your starter panel. Notice here, this is what we call a male-male. When you're starting this, depending on how you want to center your panels, that's a personal preference. This has to be a male-male. If you're starting with a full panel, you've got to cut this off. You can't run a full female on the gable end. The gable trim won't fit over it. So make sure you cut that accordingly. So in this case, mark me right there, Brandon. Okay. Normally this would be set in sealant and screwed with the big heavy screws. I'm using zip screws only. So that's what I've got handy. So let's there's no right way to do this. A lot of it's just preference, but you want to run this side to side. This gives you an idea how you can see how the water can run horizontally. This panel may be, I think in your case you've got a big dormer there, so you never know. It could be 30, 40 feet long. Slide that right over. There that panel again. I've got my 1-inch turn up high. About a 13-inch. I'm going to go ahead and prep my 1-inch up. Watch here. I think that has about a 20-minute capacity, and that shuts down, so we so good?
We're at 22.
For 22 minutes?
Yep. Probably got a half hour.
Is that what it goes, a half hour?
Mine does.
1-inch up. So I'm marking at 13 and 14. 13 and 14. 14 is my cut, 13 is my bend or my braid. Knife that off. One inch. Clip there, right there. Yep, normally 2 screws, but you guys don't get bored to tears. Always want this lock to be tight. Especially that. Screw. Still recording?
Yeah.
Technically 2. 1 inch up. Now a lot of times if you're on a low pitch, you're going to want to put the sealant on any of these gates up high. Brandon, why don't you cut that ridge base to 40 inches long, if you would, please. There again, I'm marking it 13 and 14. 13 and 14. Yeah, 40.
Yeah, you got about 3 minutes. 2 minutes, sorry.
Now this one, I prepped it wrong. We're on video. You can still smell it though. Like I said, even we make mistakes. Where's the other piece of that panel, Brandon? I don't think this one's long enough.
That down there?
What's that? Oh, I can make this work. I can make that work. Just hold it up the other way. Fold up 1 inch again, Pete. This one's going to be a male, a female with a short male, because we're at the gable edge. There again, don't ever make an assumption that that measurement is the same top to bottom or you're in trouble. Marking my first line. My 1 inch fold up. One inch fold up, like Deja Vu 13 and 14. Straight edge. How's our time doing there, Brandon?
Good, it's still recording.
What's that?
We're at 31, almost 32 minutes.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and hit stop and start over?